Test, 1, 2, 3. Yes? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, it's 10:30. I think it's about time to begin. Okay. Turn it off. Okay. Please stand in body and or spirit to sing our opening hymn in the teal hymnal. It's page 1000, Morning Has Come. It seems to me that was the perfect hymn for this morning. As you have just experienced, we begin our worship service each week by singing an invitation to gather together, even as we are scattered in many different places. Good morning, I'm Dennis, and it's my pleasure to serve as this morning's worship associate for the service of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Charlotte County, also known as UUFCC. This service is being broadcast live via Zoom and YouTube, and I wish to express my gratitude to all those supporting technology this morning, Corey and Tom and Doug. Also, a big thank you to Ryan Smith, our pianist, to our choir, Randy, our substitute director, and Janet, our recovering director. It's so good to see you here this morning. I'd also like to thank all those that supported the creation of the service, the greeters, the snack makers, and remember, after the service today, there is a potluck. I'd like to remind you of a couple simple procedures that will help the broadcast and service run smoothly. To respect and protect everybody's privacy, it will be our practice to use only first names and, when helpful, the last initial. If you are participating through Zoom, you may wish to have a chalice or a candle available for our chalice lighting ritual. Whatever your faith or the country of your heritage, you are welcome here. Whoever you are and whomever you love, you are welcome here. And whether you entered on little feet or walked in briskly or ambled or rolled in, you are welcome here. Whether you are relatively new to our community or have been an active member for decades, you are welcome here. We are glad you chose this congregation as your place of worship today. In the name of compassion and loving kindness, we open our hearts to accept all kinds of people. For those who seek, our hearts have become church, temple, synagogue, mosque, sanctuary. For those who are hurting, we reach out to share your pain. For minorities or the forgotten, wherever you come from, we welcome you here. We are the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Charlotte County and believe in the religion of love, which prioritizes no color, no language, no nationality. We honor the truth in all personal stories. Our religion is about love and inclusion. It is good that we gather together today. If you are here for the first time, or you've been gone for a while, would you please raise your hand or stand? And Doug has a mic. Okay. I didn't expect there to be too many. And now Ryan will play the prelude. you very much. This morning's chalice lighting words are by Maria Mitchell. The poem is entitled Our Whole System. Small as is our whole system compared with the infinite of creation. Brief as is our life compared with the cycles of time. We are so tethered to all by the beautiful dependencies of law that not only the sparrow's fall is felt to the uttermost bound, but the vibrations set in motion by the words that we utter reach through all space, and the tremor is felt through all time. With the lighting of this chalice, we bring forth the flame that is symbolic of the fire of compassion, love, and hope that is held in our hearts. With the lighting of this chalice, we bring forth a light that represents our community, our hopes for a better future, and the spirit of our conviction to our principles. As Ted comes forward to light the chalice here in the sanctuary, please join me in our recitation. Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service is its law. And this is our aspiration, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth and love, and to help one another. And now I invite the folks that are at home to light their chalices. And now, there is a mistake in your order of service. The next hymn is 128. And if you will rise in body and or spirit, and together we will sing For All That Is Our Lives.
Morning. I have opening words for you this morning from the British novelist Arnold Bennett. The chief beauty about time is that you cannot waste it in advance. The next year, the next day, the next hour are lying ready for you. As perfect, as unspoiled, as if you had never wasted or misapplied a single moment of your life. You can turn over a new leaf every hour if you choose.
We have a long tradition at UUFCC of sharing our joys, sorrows, and life milestones by entering them in this red book. Typically, it's found on the table as you come in on the right, and you're able to write before the service. I also want to say that if you aren't planning to be in the sanctuary, those of you that are on Zoom, you can mail your joys, sorrows, and personal milestones to Book of Life at uufcc.org. Messages should be sent no later than Saturday, and during the Sunday morning service following the receipt of your message, the worship associate will read your words to the congregation, and following the service, transcribe the message into this red book. In our tradition, we revere the living of our lives as a sacred endeavor, believing that the joys and sorrows we experience hallow the living of our days. So in a mood of prayer and meditation, I will now read from the Book of Life. Our first entry is from Mary Lou. Kudos to administration, the board of whatever, for the makeover, refresh, revamp of our weekly update. Check it out. It's awesome, and you rock. I love it. Thank you, Mary Lou. More good news. I was diagnosed with pre-diabetes at the end of April, with a lot of changes in diet and eating schedule. My last blood work indicates that my A1C is now well in normal range, and I even got a call from my doctor to congratulate me. Now, in the spirit of respectful witness, I invite you to share a brief glimpse of the joys and sorrows of your life through the ritual of dropping stones into water. Each stone is a milestone, a story embraced by the great pool of life. Each falls in reverence, stone piling on stone and creating an altar of sorrows and joys. The compassion of this congregation falls as softly as stones through the water, surrounding our loved ones and friends in its quiet embrace. If you would like to participate in this ritual, please come forward and speak into the mic while sharing. As you drop a stone into the water, tell us your first name and what major changes are shaping you on your path. When no more people come forward, I will drop a stone in the bowl. Anyone that would like to come up, please.
Well, this stone is for Janet, and healing for Janet, continued healing. I hope you are back to normal as soon as possible with your, you're normal. You're normal. Special.
Hi, my name is Jackie, and I'm putting this stone in the water because Lori no longer has her, whatever the stuff was, and she's getting new glasses. Yes. Woo!
Okay, I'm Janet. Surprise. I didn't want to come up here because there's always a risk of me flooding the place. But I have to say thank you to some incredible people. Team Ryan, that's both Ryan S. and Ryan R. for the surprise and almost unwelcome visit in the hospital.
it'll probably be the last time they come to see me, but the flowers, the cards, the calls, the choir, the wonderful support for Randy stepping in and rearranging his life because the pulse not working very well. But so that's my thank you. My first stone, I want to place for my friend Ellie. Who is battling cancer. And my second stone is for the other driver and the accident. Sorry, I have no idea how she is, but last time I heard she was still in the hospital on Monday, and when you get hit by broadside by a Ford Explorer going at least 50 miles an hour and you're in a little car, it doesn't always turn out well. So my thoughts are for her.
Well, Janet, if it makes you feel any better, I don't think we're in a flood zone, so I think we'll be fine. I have a joy, so my wonderful handyman has gotten my drywall to a point where the entire bedroom is done and part of the kitchen. So last night I slept in it for the first time. And I'm so proud of myself because I got all my plain old telephone lines hooked up. So now all I gotta do is get the cable hooked up, and it's like 100% livable for a single male in his 30s. And then I'm gonna drop another stone for Janet that I'm not gonna use the word normal, like some people, but get back into tip-top shape. Before I turn 40 would be nice.
A stone for many thoughts. One is the miracle of Janet being with us today and being as well as you are. Thank God. Thank everybody. Yeah. Secondly, I just want to thank people for the support in my multiple injuries and falls. I'm really grateful that I did find out through the doctor that this is about my glasses and my eyes, which is kind of refreshing because I didn't know what was going on, and I need to slow down my roll a little bit. So I got a real message here in many ways. So thank you for all your support, and this is an incredible congregation. If you let people know what's going on, or let other people know what's going on for you, there's a ton of a support that you can have, even if you're not exactly comfortable. It feels really loving and good. Thank you.
Amen.
My name is Lori, and I have a joy to share. My son got a job at Cheney Brothers. It's an awesome job. He loves it. I am so grateful that he got this job. That one's for my son. My second stone is, I'm sure that most of you know that I am supposed to be having back surgery. However, my blood pressure is sky high. They don't know why. It's just happened in the past month. And I can't have back surgery until my blood pressure goes down. So I'm asking for your thoughts and your kind words to positive energy to get my blood pressure down.
This stone represents those joys and sorrows that remain unspoken but are held in our hearts. May we hold all these and one another in love and tenderness so that this fellowship continues to be a source of strength and comfort, courage and hope in the days and weeks ahead. And now we will have a time for meditation. Thankful for the breadth of our community, let us endeavor to support one another in all times and seasons, and may this congregation ever be a harbor for the heart and a sanctuary for the soul. Amen. And now I have the joy of introducing one of my closest friends, Sharon, and she's going to speak on the rubber nature of time.
Thank you, Dennis. A friend of mine once made a wall clock for me with a big round face and hands that pointed not to the usual numbers, but to words. The words were now, 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 all the way around the clock face. And the clock worked, and it served as a visual reminder to me that at any given moment it really always is now. It also illustrates the way one particular tribe in the Amazonian rainforest understands time. Everything exists in the present for this group. Not only do they have no system of numbers, but even their language lacks a past tense. Imagine trying to speak without a past tense. On the North American continent, the Hopi Indians measure time with only two words. One means sooner, the other means later. Far across the world in Bali, time exists in the way we think of it here, but it's so super flexible that it would drive us Westerners crazy. Being an hour late isn't seen as at all rude. Not in Bali. Yet pressuring somebody to be on time is conceived of as extremely rude. You just would not want to put that pressure on anyone. I would not do well there. My point is that time really is this rubbery thing. And that's my title today, as Dennis said. The examples I've just mentioned all demonstrate that more than anything else, time is a matter of culture. Culture dictates the way we perceive time. After all, what is it? Time is artificial. It's intangible. It's a human construct, subject to all of the distortions that I've been talking about. How would you describe time to someone from that Amazonian rainforest? Is time cyclical, or is it linear? Do we, in the Western world, measure time geographically, geologically, evolutionarily, or historically, or biologically? We have biological clocks, do we not? Or do we measure time personally? The answer to all of these possibilities is yes. Time is flexible enough to encompass all of these ways of measurement, and it's broad enough that it can encompass both the Eastern idea of a constant eternal present, the now clock, and the Western notion of progress and movement and change. I'd like to start with personal time and how we perceive it. In other words, with what we call our internal clocks. I want to see how good we are at assessing duration. For example, can you wake yourself up anytime you decide on the night before, even if it's 3 in the morning? Or when you wake up from a nap, do you have a pretty accurate sense of how long you've been asleep? When you wake up in the night, can you estimate without looking at the clock how long you've been asleep? Now compare that to when you've been under anesthesia, that weird sense when you come to, and it seems that absolutely not 1 second has passed since you were out. That's because your internal clock has been completely shut down by the drugs. More than all this, it turns out that our brains edit our perceptions of time all the time. And it's all kinds of interesting ways that I will tell you about. If you look in a mirror and you can see your eyes moving back and forth, if you look to the left and then the right, you know you're moving them, so why don't you see that movement in the mirror? Your brain has recut the film, so to speak, so they seem to stay still even though you can feel them move. There's a parallel kind of edit when you estimate how long ago or how recently something happened. Most of us tend to recall recent events as being longer ago than they really were, and things that did happen a long time ago as being more recent than they really were. Isn't that odd? That recent events seem longer ago and long ago events seem more recent? It's sort of like how the return trip in a car always feels shorter than the trip out. Not surprisingly, then, your emotional state will affect how you experience time. When you're aware of some kind of danger, if you're bungee jumping, for example, time will seem to slow down. If you've had an accident recently, you know that phenomenon. Years ago, I rolled over my little VW Bug with my 3 small daughters in the back seat. And I'm telling you, that single moment when we rolled over and the roof bumped on the ground and then we completed the turn and landed on our tires, that moment went on forever. It was like when I looked over my shoulder, and I saw those children, it was like clothes in a tumble dryer. One child up and down, another child up and down, other child up and down. That was before seat belts and any restraint for children. None of us was hurt. A lovely little bug with a very hard roof. But those are moments that I'll never forget, and they did go on forever, or seem to. Danger slows time down. In cases like that, say when a predator appears, and your brain will find it evolutionarily advantageous to make a quick decision. Even watching film clips, this happens, though your brain is being monitored. Studies find that sad or neutral clips, your brain sense of time remains normal and even. But fear-inducing film clips, your brain reacts the way it does in a real accident, and it slows time down. You won't be surprised to hear that age is also an influence. After all, age seems to influence every other damn thing. The old trope about summers when we were kids, how they lasted forever. And also those weeks prior to Christmas seemed to drag on forever. When we were little, so much was new to us that our brains needed every day time to take in all of it. And that made made time seem to slow down. Depressants also work to stretch out time. And of course, stimulants seem to shrink it. When I hung out in bars in my youth and drank beer, I remember how 1 minute would be 11 o'clock, and a minute or two later, it was 2 a.m. and the lights came on. 3 hours had passed, and it certainly didn't seem like it. Those evenings lost their appeal as I aged, but now time again speeds by anyway. And speaking of bars, did you know that more drinks are sold in bars with slow tempo music? Or that customers in grocery stores spend 38% more time browsing the shelves when the music in the background is slow. It fits then that an Israeli study found that soothing radio music reduces bad driving, habits like speeding. It slows people down if the music is slow and relaxing. Research in the United Kingdom found that the ear-splitting rap and rock music young people, teenagers in particular, favored increased their risk of crashing. And just so you know, Wagner's Ride of the Valkyries is the most dangerous piece of classical music to listen to while driving. That was the finding of the Royal Automobile Club in Britain. A bit of trivia that rings a personal bell for me again, about Beethoven's Ninth. I remember driving home late one night, listening to Ode to Joy, and singing along with it in German, mind you, which I have now forgotten. I'd memorized it for the choir that I was in at the time. And I suddenly realized I was going so far over the speed limit that I immediately slowed down. I hadn't realized it, singing along and being joyful. So what this adds up to, ultimately, is that what we call time is, in fact, a psychological phenomenon. Here's a sobering story. In Jim's and my happiness class once, we had an adult student who I noticed always arrived for the class early. And later I learned why. One day when this woman was 12 years old, her mother was late getting home. And during that period of time, this young girl was raped by a neighbor. Forever after, this grown woman was compelled not just to arrive on time, but to come early. Always come early. Of course, at the other extreme, there are those who are chronically late. I had a cousin-in-law, Paul, bless his heart, who was to visit me once, and he arrived 2 days late. I bet you can't top that. Now I come to this part of the talk that I most enjoyed putting together, the way that various poets and writers have characterized and personified time. For Shakespeare, time can do just about anything. Time can calm contending kings. It can unmask falsehood. It can blot old books and alter their contents. It can ruin monuments. It can spoil antiques. It can fill objects with wormholes and smear them with dust. These are all quotations. Time can dry up sap. It can transform children into adults. It can waste away huge stones with mere drops of water. Shakespeare was nothing if not prolific with language and metaphor. For the 17th century poet Andrew Marvell, the quick passing of time became his excuse to hurry his girlfriend into sex. He'd have loved to seduce her more slowly, he said, except that, quote, "At my back I always hear time's winged chariot drawing near." For Ralph Waldo Emerson, time was a cunning chemist that melted his life down like a candle. But John Keats, at one point in his life, found time as soothing as an old nurse who rocked him to sleep. The rest of us usually personify time variously as a journey, or a river, sometimes a vast ocean. Time flies, we say. Time creeps. Time crawls by. Time steals. Time devours. The time is out of joint. Time unfolds. Time passes. Time runs out. Time nips at our heels or flaps its wings like that chariot of Marvell's. Time is wise. Time will tell. Time reveals all. We ripen with time. I have time on my hands, yet time is an illusion that slips right through my fingers. Time heals all wounds, cures all ills, eases all pain, yet time is for sale. You try to buy time because time is of the essence. Time is money, and time is on your side. There's a time for us, somewhere a time for us, because times they are a-changin'. We regret wasting time. I wasted time, says Richard II, and now doth time waste me. We can even kill time, but we can never turn back the time. After all, there is a time for everything, to plant, to kill, to weep, to laugh, or to dance. And there's no time like the present. Now, thank you for letting me indulge in that riff. I will conclude with 5 suggestions for time slowing for each of us every day. Since our perception of it, my perceptions of it are so heavily influenced by emotions and age and all the rest I've mentioned, think of these suggestions as ways to make your days, if not your life, last longer. 1, according to research, if you feed your brain new information, the extra processing required will make you feel time moving more slowly. This is as close as a book in your hands. There's a wealth of new things to learn in order to slow down time. So keep learning. 2, a new environment can work the same way, pouring fresh smells and sounds and colors and textures and people into your brain. This can be as complex as world travel, or as simple as taking your laptop to a new coffee shop, or going into a building you've never been in before. So visit new places. 3, meet new people. Look for any newcomers to this congregation. Because apart from other benefits to us, as well as to the newcomer, new people require more of your brain power to process and understand. more brain power than anything else I can think of, except maybe some new electronic device. Getting to know them will require the energy you need to help your brain slow time down for you. 4, try new activities. This one I know gets harder as we get older, but you can still take a class. You can join one of our committees. You can attend the events the board has been offering. Or you can volunteer at one of the worthwhile places we've been hearing about in our second Sunday presentations. And even in the weekly updates, there are suggestions, volunteer opportunities. Our welcome team here, or PFLAG, for instance. They're all looking for volunteers. And finally, number 5, dare to be spontaneous. Surprise, like danger, heightens your senses and makes you pay attention. The longer it takes that brain of yours to process something, the more time will seem to slow down for you. So, new information, new places, new people, new activities, new surprises. As they say in the ads, a whole new you. May it be so.
The offering is a sacrament of the Free Church. It is supported by the generosity of all who join with us. In our tradition, congregations exist because of the generous support of members and friends. It is our privilege and our responsibility to ensure the health and future of the fellowship. There are several ways you can give. You can mail checks to the office, drop them in our mailbox, or call the office to make other arrangements. We are also equipped to accept donations through the Venmo app. Payments through this app should be made to UUFCC offering. If you would like your donation to apply to anything other than the operating fund, like our second helping, for example, please indicate your intentions on the check's memo line. Your generosity is always appreciated, and if you're with us for the first time, you don't need to feel obligated to give. Your presence is gift enough. Now it's time to highlight UUFCC's special events and activities. Please remember to religiously read your weekly copy of the updates, which includes a calendar and links for connecting via Zoom. Additionally, if you'd like to have fellowship events highlighted during the service, you can email the worship associates at bookoflife@uufcc.org. Today, I don't have any announcements in addition to what is in the back of your order of service, although I would like to emphasize that the Social Justice Committee meets at 11:45 today. No? Second Sunday, sorry. Forget that. And now we are going to sing hymn number 311. It's, again, different from what's in your order of service. And please rise in body and spirit.
Sorry, Jackie, I just don't know the steps. We have closing words now, and this time they are from the American poet Henry Van Dyke, who wrote the poem as an inscription on a sundial at a home of a friend. I have to say this little poem was one that I loved so much as a teenager that I had it written in my diary and memorized. Time is too slow for those who wait, too swift for those who fear, too long for those who grieve, too short for those who rejoice. But for those who love, Time is eternity. Hours fly, flowers die, new days, new ways pass by. Love stays.
And now, if you'll join with me in our traditional recitation as Ted extinguishes the chalice. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of hope, the fire of commitment, or the warmth of community. May those ideals shine in our lives and warm our hearts until we are together again. Go now in peace. And our last hymn is 311. No, I'm sorry, we just did that. 1010. In the teal hymnal, we give thanks. Now, remember to turn your phones back on and join us for a potluck in the fellowship hall. If you didn't bring a dish to share, don't worry about it. There's always lots of food.